Welcome to Peaceful Zen Talks. Today we have Michelle Mushtaq. She's an incredible life coach and she's also a counselor. She's making a difference through her, go check out her Instagram page. She's making a healingjourney.au, right? Yeah, she's making such an incredible difference and posting awesome videos about trauma and all sorts of videos that are going to help you and support you on your day-to-day life. So Michelle Mustaq, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started on this journey?
So my journey myself has like I've had my own share of battling with depression for like almost 3 years, and I had ups and downs in my life and whatsoever. So that inspired me because I know the importance of mental health and I'm very passionate about it, and I want to educate every human being on planet Earth about the importance of mental health because I myself has gone through it, and it takes one to know one. So I know the importance, and I know many people who struggle with this and they don't have the support, which is why I started this. I was actually doing a business degree, but I changed my profession altogether because this is something that I'm passionate about. I found my purpose last, like 2023, mid 2023. I realized this is what I have to do because this is what makes me happy, and yeah, this is my life because I since very like even when I was a kid, like my teenage days, I have people coming to me up with their problems because they find that comfort in me, and they could trust me, and I was always non-judgmental. So I've never had this in my head ever to judge people on whatsoever. So even people who are elder to me. So I have had my relatives who are elder to me coming to me with their problems, which was like a big thing to me because they trusted me that much. They find that comfort in me.
Yeah.
So what happened was this year when I was working with, I worked with some disabled clients, right? So a lot of them were of depression and anxiety, and a lot of my clients who I just met like the first time. And there were instances where they would start speaking to me about like the deepest thing that you wouldn't share about with anybody. And I have that in me that I make people very comfortable. So
Mhm.
when I would sense that there is something that I could see that's not right, I would start speaking about my personal journey as well to make them feel comfortable. That if they
Mhm.
want to speak and they're unable to, but then they would. So I had a few of these instances where my clients would speak to me about the deepest things, and from there, and I got from them. And then my roommates that I was living in, they were like, "You have these qualities that you can be a great counselor." I used to take it as a joke, right? And when
Yeah.
I was in
Yeah.
therapy as well, so there was this person, I was in therapy for about 2 years. And after that, when everything was like going well, we were just, ending everything. We were on the last stages. And I used to I jokingly last in my last session with her, I jokingly told her, now I'm going to be a therapist because I've had enough of therapy. It was just as a joke. Not even my wildest dream I thought that I would
Right.
end up, going this path. I just told her that, I think I'll start doing therapy now because I've learned so much about therapy. I think so I'm so good at it. Now I'll do people therapy. And it just happened. They say
Wow.
sometimes, and I truly believe in that your tongue has the power of life and death, which is why when somebody speaks about me something, I always tell them be cautious when you say something at least about me and my life, because I truly feel that your tongue has the power of life and death, and what you speak you put out in the universe.
Definitely. Wanted to talk a little bit about, as you mentioned, like words are so powerful, how you mentioned that you wanted to be a therapist and then you said it jokingly and then it actually manifested. So I would
Yeah,
love to
so
hear a little bit more about that.
words are powerful. That's why there are positive affirmations. We always, whether you're learning positive psychology or you're learning CBT or you're learning life coaching, you will always have these subjects, these courses where you will learn about positive affirmations, because the words that we feed in our minds, in our brains as well, they're very, very powerful. Your minds
Yeah,
believe what you tell, similarly what you put out in the universe. The universe, I don't know if you believe in that, but I truly believe in the power of manifestation and the law of attraction. What
definitely
you
I
put,
do.
yeah.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that because as an educator teaching my students, I remember I showed them this clip or this video where there's these two plants. One plant you talk negative words to, and then the other plant you talk positive plants to. And the plant that you end up talking positive affirmations to, it flourishes and it grows and it's beautiful. And then the plant that you don't say good things to, and you're constantly saying negative things to, curse words or whatnot, that plant does not flourish whatsoever. So words are extremely powerful. And I do believe in that. And I think it's so important to wake up each morning and listen to positive affirmations. I think like I go on YouTube and you can type in just positive affirmations, morning affirmations, and just start off your day that way and just really listen to the words. Like, you know, I mean, simple things such as like, I am powerful, I will be able to take on the day today and really be happy today, and anything, and just really repeating that. And subconsciously, we remember all these things as well.
Exactly. So when we start our day with, when we start our day by saying today's day is not going to be good, with just one little minor thing happening, our day ends up being bad because we
Mhm.
manifested that already, that today's day
Yes.
is not going to be good, right?
Yeah.
Also, because we as humans have the tendency to focus more on the negative than on the positive. For
Yeah.
example, if I compliment you today that you're looking beautiful, and someone else comes and your boss comes and says there's a mistake in the file or something, you are going to ruminate on that one comment that your boss made and not me giving you a compliment.
Oh
You
yeah,
will
totally. We focus on that one
yeah,
negative comment, and then throughout the day, if other people are really being really generous and kind, we forget about that, and then we just focus on that one comment of like, this person making me feel crappy.
that's exactly what I tell
Yeah.
my clients as well. Even in a day, if you had a good cup of coffee or a nice food or whatever, why don't we think about, okay, today I had a really good cup of coffee? Why will we not focus on that good that has happened?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
really changes the focus, that we put the things, what am I saying? The things that we put our focus on
Yeah.
really matters. Because I'll tell you one thing, when somebody says something to us, we start getting affected by it. Why? Why? Because somewhere in ourselves, we feel that.
Definitely.
If I tell you today that I saw you committing a crime last night, will you believe that? No, you laugh on me that what the hell am I saying, right?
Yeah.
It's because you don't believe that. You know that did not happen. Whatever I can say, you were at your home watching television or whatever.
So why do we believe these negative thoughts about
Why?
ourselves?
Why would you believe if I tell you you're ugly? You can't do it. Because
Right.
somewhere you are not confident in
You're not
yourself.
confident within
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah. Yeah. And
If
I
you're
think
confident,
like thinking about it when I was younger, things would affect me way more versus now. And like I think like now being able to really work on myself and having the self-awareness, if someone comes up to me and says something really negative, now I'm compassionate about it. And I think to myself, oh, like, you know, they're going through something and that's why they're reflecting or they're projecting their negativity onto me. And then it doesn't affect me anymore because I'm compassionate about like their insecurities and what they're going through versus thinking about it from a standpoint of, oh, they just said something negative to me, oh, it must be true.
exactly. People who will say negative things to you or will behave in a very negative way, they are people who are unhappy with themselves. People who are contented within themselves, they don't have that energy to even put out in the world the
Exactly.
negativity. They don't have
Yeah.
that. They don't possess that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I
So
wanted to, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
it all reflects on them, how people
Mm-hmm.
treat you. I would like to say something. You were saying something. Please continue, and then I'll.
Oh yeah. So I mean, as you mentioned earlier, that you went through depression. And again, like going through depression is obviously it's a mental breakdown and it's a very unfortunate situation. So how did you come out stronger, if you don't mind sharing your experience or some
Oh,
tips,
I
support?
Oh, definitely. I love talking about it because I think it's very important because it's still a stigma attached to it. People still don't feel very confident talking about depression and anxiety because they find it like it's a weakness. I don't know. People are open to talk about their physical ailments, but I don't know why this is still even living now in 2024. So I'm somebody who's very, very confident about speaking all of this because I want the awareness
Of course.
regarding, yeah.
Yeah.
So when I initially came to Australia, I came in 2019, and in 2022, I was diagnosed with depression. For that, initially I didn't go for therapy and all of that. Very honestly, because it has all the physical aspect attached with it as well. When I was back in Pakistan, I used to think it's some weakness in my body. Maybe, I'm studying very hard and I don't get enough sleep. It's because of that, but it wasn't that. And because I have weak eyesight as well. So most of the time I used to think I'm having these migraines because of my eyesight. But when I came to Australia, I got diagnosis that it's depression. And then that time COVID was going on, so even I was struggling financially, so I couldn't go to therapy. But then in 2021, I started therapy, and but I had GAD, that's generalized anxiety disorder. So generalized anxiety disorder is that you feel anxious about anything and everything. You generally feel anxious. It's not even a big thing that is happening. So for that, I had to take medications. So I started medications 2022, right? So, but something happened last Feb. I lost someone who lost, not in a sense like didn't they didn't die, not to death. I just lost connection with that person who was like a really important part of my life. She was like a mother figure to me, and I don't know what happened. I still don't have any answers to that, but I will talk about that. I found my silver lining in that as well. So I don't know. That person just went radio silent with me for no reasons, and that person knows their importance in my life. So that breakup broke me to the point that I can't tell you. Like people we listen to in music that my heart is broken and all of that. I actually felt the physical pain that
Mm-hmm.
something has broken inside me.
Mm-hmm.
I actually felt that physical pain, and then
And this was someone that you were very close to, as you mentioned, like a
yeah,
mother figure who
mother
just,
figure.
yeah, and
Yeah,
she ended up kind of
just
going
going radio
MIA,
silent,
MIA
just
on you.
going
You
radio
have no
silent.
idea
Yeah,
like
no,
why.
I still don't have any idea.
Yeah, so there was no closure. Yeah.
No, none whatsoever. I never got any, like, I still wish that she communicated to me the issue, but she did not. Well, then there were days that, okay, so before, and she was the person I used to tell her that I am unable to cry. Like, I'm somebody who can't cry like I just can't cry. So she was
Right.
somebody who I could cry because I trusted her that much. That's why I
Yeah,
used to call her a mother figure because I used to find that solace in her,
of course.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she was somebody I just I could freely cry in front of, right? So I always used to tell her I can't cry even when I'm alone. I can't just cry because
Mhm.
with her I could cry, right?
Right. Like a deep
So
connection with someone. Yeah.
exactly when that ended, Sarah, I used to cry like anything in the buses, in the park, so when I used to reach my workplace, I would stop myself because it just constantly that you can't, but in the buses, in the trains, everywhere. I couldn't stop crying. And then I was drowning in alcohol because I just wanted to escape the days. I wanted to
Yeah.
sleep. So
Right.
alcohol was helping me sleep. And I
Right.
was just down in alcohol, not for anything else, but just to sleep, just to escape days. So I used to get off
Yeah.
on Saturdays and Sundays I won't get
Basically
out
like
of
go
bed.
numb. You were like trying to go numb
Exactly.
so that you can sleep. Yeah.
Exactly. I just didn't want to stay awake. On
Hmm.
my work days, I know I have to work. I have to make ends meet.
Right.
I have to do. But during my off days, there would be days, and I have somebody who have. I won't say OCD because it's a big term and it has a lot of meanings that but I have cleanliness issues, like a lot. But during those depressive episodes, I did not have the energy to even get get up and brush my teeth. I
Yeah.
would become that person. So when I went through all that, I don't know, one day it just occurred to me that who am I doing good to by doing this to? That person does not even know that I'm experiencing all of this. They
You're
have
going
no
through it
idea.
yourself and yeah, like you're just doing it to yourself. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know even if she gets to know if that's going to affect her in any way. I don't know because that person already knows what she means to me. And if uh, she going radio silent and she would tell me at times when things would happen that if she said something that would affect me, she would know that if her saying that would affect me, so she would also mention that I'm going to say something that is going to hurt you. But knowing everything, she just went radio silent. I just hope she gave me a reason as to why she's doing that. But I found my own silver lining, which I will tell you.
Right.
So all of this happened, and then I, I just decided that this is not right, because very honestly, Sunaina, I am not this person. I am not this person who will just give up. I'm not this person who will let life defeat me. And I've always said this to that person as well. And I also used to say this to my therapist. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my life cannot defeat me. I come to you because of my emotional issues. I used to tell this to my therapist. I'm not coming to you because I'm afraid that life would defeat me, or, you know, because of the problems in my life. No, I'm very brave enough to face them. But it just emotionally, I get very weak at times because,
Mm-hmm.
um, where was I? Yeah. So I decided it's not me. And when it's not you, you can't just do it. Like, I'll go down for for 2 months, 3 months, maximum 6 months. But I always pull myself out of it. And I pulled myself out, and I connected all the dots. And I don't know if that was the actual reason or not, but this is what I found, that I was being too dependent on her, even for crying, like I said. And
Right,
I
right. And
think
sometimes the universe has a unique way of showing us that, like, um, sometimes we need to go through things on our own. And when we're too dependent on someone, the universe has a unique way of showing us that, hey, you know what, that person might not always be around. So you have to learn to take care of yourself and love yourself.
that person also used to tell me the same, right? So I believe that they did what they did because uh,
They,
she also mentioned to me once that, you know, mother's love can be tough at times as well. When you are unable to understand things, sometimes the mother has to be really take some really strict actions to make
yeah.
you learn things, right? So I think she did because of this, because after that is when I decided to do all of this. I decided to become a mental health counselor
I
and
was
a life
just
coach.
going to say that to you. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was because I think if I still had her in my life, I would. I don't think so. I'd be, because when she was there, my life was like, okay, it's all hunky dory. I have somebody who
Exactly.
supports
Comfort.
me, who I can
Hmm.
cry to.
Hmm.
Everything is going good. I'm making ends meet. What do I want more? No, but after she leaving, I actually found the purpose of my life. That was just one aspect of my life
Yeah.
and not my life.
And I think there's always that one person in someone's life who kind of um pushes them. Like at that moment, you might not realize it and you might blame them and you might say, oh, they hurt me, whether it's a heartbreak, through being in a relationship with a significant other, or whether it's a family member, or it's a, as you mentioned, like a mother figure type of friend. Um, there's always that one person that we might initially blame in the beginning for them hurting us, but then at the end of the day, there's a bigger purpose, and that bigger purpose, like there's a lot of beautiful things that come out of it at times, and then you realize that later, and then you won't blame that person anymore, and then you'll just think to yourself, wow, like there was a reason why that person entered my life, and I learned so much through the experience, so why am I even going to sit here and blame it, because I wouldn't be who I am unless that person that was also something that I needed to experience at that given moment and go through that heartbreak.
You know what, when that person was in my life, when that person came in my life as well, that was also like when they came in my life, a lot of things happened, a lot of good things happened and changed for good. I
Mm.
learned a lot from her as well, right? That's why I
Yeah.
used to call her mama. And, you know, uh, I used to call her my mother figure, and whatever happened. But then, of course, that relationship was becoming extremely dependent, because I
Mm-hmm.
also
Mm-hmm.
felt that after only she left, I understood that where I was going wrong. So even when like I respect that person a great deal, a lot of she has played a great role in my journey, because if I am today sitting in front of you speaking, it's because whatever happened, it happened after she left, and she taught me a lot of things. So I've never blamed her. I will never blame her. I respect her a great deal. Whoever say she did me wrong, yes, I was hurt. I'm a human. I'm not going to take that away. Yes, but and I still wish her to come back, because I don't know, I do that.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
wanted to ask you a little bit about for people who are listening and watching, how can we not be dependent on someone? Like let's say there's let's say there's someone who is really dependent on their significant other for certain reasons, or their family members, and they kind of are living with their family and are stuck in a situation. Do you have any advice for people who are dependent and kind of have no choice?
That's what I'm saying, that when we become independent is when we learn a lot, and that's when we learn more about ourselves than anything else in the world. Because when you're on your own,
Mhm.
you explore your weaknesses, you explore your strengths. Very honestly, I was a very dependent person back when I was in Pakistan. I would never do anything on my own. Like I
Yeah.
was really, really pampered, like extremely pampered, that my mother would feed me with her own hands.
Of course. Yeah, no,
That
I mean,
kind
I
of
think a lot of us grew up that way as well. Like if I go home
yeah,
to my parents right now, like my mom will make a aloo ka paratha, like she'll, just like sit there and feed me.
I know. So I was actually, when I was coming to Australia, when I was getting my passport made, I went to the passport office with my mother, and she just went there for some paperwork or something, and I was in the queue, and our number was about to come, and I called her crying that, "Mama, where are you? I can't do this alone." So from being that
Yeah,
child
yeah,
now, I wouldn't have known my strengths, that I can do it until and unless you do it.
absolutely. Yeah. I
So
think like
even with
being on your own, you're really taught a lot. When I moved out of my parents' place, I think that's when I was taught everything. Like they didn't want me to move out, like, coming from a strict background as well. And then when I decided to do it, that's when I really grew up, like going to like something simple as going grocery shopping by myself and, just picking up some vegetables and fruits and like just I think that my first time going grocery shopping by myself, I was like, whoa, like this is like so weird because I was so dependent on going with my mom or going with, like a friend or something like that. I never went on my own. So just being able to do little things like that on your own because of the background that we come from, like we're honestly are baby fed everything. Like it's just like we're like they're little babies.
I think mostly dependency comes from fear. We fear most of the things that we can't do, or we need somebody by our side. That's where we are dependent on people. But
Hmm.
when we put ourselves out there, explore that, okay, this is something that we can do. I
Yeah.
think then we stop being dependent. I think now it's not just dependence about anything. It's also like women are doing great. They're financially independent, and even if they're financially well off, you
Yeah.
just have to be independent to have your own identity,
Yeah. No,
right? And
definitely.
one thing that I truly believe, that even if you're a homemaker, that's great. If you choose to be that, that's great. But
Yeah.
you have to have something in the backup, that what if something happens to a significant other, because accidents happen.
Yeah.
So just having to be prepared for that, that if someday you have to do something, you should be prepared for that. So it's not like you shouldn't be able to do anything. Like, what if something happens? What are you going to do? At least you have
Right.
some certificate or some anything like skill,
Exactly.
whatever, that you
Action.
can
Yeah.
also make the ends meet when
Yeah,
it comes
no,
to you.
definitely. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's the society we live in. We obviously have to make money. As you mentioned, we have to make ends meet. So it's like in order to do all of that, you have to stand up on your own 2 feet and be able to really get that certification or go for your dream. So in that way, you can also make money and be able to support yourself, most importantly, more than anything, and have some sort of stability.
And I think when people who truly love us, they will support you.
Hmm.
So when you stand up for yourself, you also get to know
Who your real
what
friends
people
are.
really, yeah. Who,
Yeah.
like, even if it's about your family can be toxic too. It
Oh,
does not mean that if you have family, they're your family members, they're your parents, they're your sibling, then they have to be the greatest people in the world. No, they
yeah.
can be toxic too. So standing up
Yeah.
for yourself is the first thing. And people who love you are going to be there.
Yeah,
Nobody is
no,
going to be sad
definitely.
because you're happy. I don't
Yeah.
think so. People who love you will be sad just seeing you
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. No, definitely.
It
I think
really,
that's a,
yeah.
that's a really good point. I think when you really fall deeply in love with what you're doing, your people who are really close to you are going to be really happy seeing you thrive and they'll be really happy to be around you as well. So that's very important.
We often hear people saying that treat others the way they treat you. That is something that I don't really agree with,
You don't wait,
because
so
I
you don't agree with the saying treat people the way they
treat people
treat
the way they
you.
treat you. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't agree with it, because I feel that how people treat you resonates on them. It reflects on them. Because they might be unhappy in themselves, or they
Yeah.
have some traumatic experience, or they have some negativity in you. But if you treat them the same way, then I don't think so there's any difference. Like, if I come to you complaining about somebody has done me wrong, and I do the same to you, then what am I complaining about? Why am
Yeah,
I upset if I'm doing the
yeah.
same thing?
It's like
So
it's like at that point you're doing tit for tat. Like, oh, they're treating me horribly,
it
so
doesn't,
I'm going to do the same thing to them.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
make you a bigger person to do that because
An
you
eye
have
for
your own
an eye,
insecurities. Yeah.
an eye for an eye is only going to make the world blind. And I think stooping down to somebody's level, then I don't think there's a difference between you and them. Then what are you complaining about? You have no right to call them the bad person or wrong or whatsoever.
Mm.
Then you have no right to even feel upset if you're going to treat them the same. So
Yeah.
this is one saying that really bothers me, because treat somebody the way they treat you. If you're just going to resonate with, sorry, what is that word, reciprocate with negativity, then the world is just going to be a very negative place.
Yeah.
If yeah, so if somebody is doing something wrong to you, you don't have to do that, give that back. I'm not saying that you have to still be with that person or bear the negativity or the toxicity, but you just don't have to stoop down to their level, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
you
that's a
create the
that
boundary, your distance, but negativity with negativity is no answer. Is not something that I truly agree with. So
That's a
yeah.
really good point because you never know what the other person is going through. And we are on our own journey and we have our own way of thinking and our own mindset. So we have to really, the only person that we can really control is ourselves. And if someone is acting in a negative behavior or they're doing you wrong, you have to be really compassionate. And I think that's the most important, to be compassionate and really understand what the other person is going through and where they're coming from. And it's really hard to do that because at that point you're like, wow, that was really rude what they said to me. We always make it about ourselves, but it's like, hey, they're going through their own thing. I'm not going to let it affect me, and I'm not going to sit here and constantly complain about them. Whatever they're going through is what they're going through, and that's their own journey. And the only thing I can do is control myself, so let me move past it. And that's having a positive mindset. At that point, it's not going to affect you anymore. If you just label your emotion, oh, I'm kind of hurt by this person being rude to me, and they are being rude, which is a fact, but they're going through something personally in their life, and I'm not going to let it affect me. And I think that it takes a really big person to be able to move past it at a very quick pace versus dwelling on it, dwelling on it, dwelling
Exactly
on
my
it.
point. So when somebody does something wrong to you or break your heart or whatever, we when we start like complaining about it or taking it, we are actually filling ourselves with negativity as well. That is not no positive emotion that we are dwelling on. So we are
Right.
not even doing any good to ourselves, very honestly.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
letting go is the best thing that you can do. You're not doing any favor to them by
Mm-hmm.
not reacting or by not dwelling on it, but you are doing it a favor to yourself by not letting the negativity get to you, and you're not storing the negativity as well.
Right,
So by doing
exactly.
that, you are actually doing a favor to yourself and not anybody else. And
I
it
think that's a
falls
really
back.
good point where you said you're not storing the negativity then either,
Yes.
because then if you're on the same exact level as them, then as you mentioned, if you're basically doing the same exact thing as them.
For example, when this person that I like, my the mother figure, that when she
Yeah.
broke my heart and all of that, there were a lot of people coming to me that this, that, blah, blah, this, she's okay. She might be, I don't know, whatever her reasons were, I don't know, and I'm not going to question her or say anything, because I have a very positive feeling about her in my heart, and whatever I have for her is very
Yeah.
positive, and I don't want to change it to negative,
That's
because
great.
then, yeah, I don't want to change it to any negative. And yes, I still, when it's something like it's an event or something like that, I do message her to wish her, and I'm not going to stop that, because I did not end that relationship. She did. I don't know, but I'm not going to fill my self with negativity about
That's
anybody else.
great.
I don't know that person did to me. Ab to main zindagi mein I'm not going to see their
Yeah, you
faces.
know
No,
the
that is
crazy,
not me.
yeah, you know what the crazy part is? I think like um you have to be very careful with who you share these kind of things with as well. I've realized, because a lot of people like drama. They want to hear like what's happening in your life, and like especially if like you're going through like a major crisis or whatever it might be, you have to share it with people who you know will give you really good feedback too. Not people who are just going to like be excited about hearing like, oh, like something bad happened in her life. And a lot excuse me, a lot of the times we're assuming like if the person, like as you mentioned, like if she left out of your life, there's a lot of assumptions we can make. Maybe she didn't want to talk to you, maybe she this, maybe this. Like there's so many other things, so many different factors to it. Or it could just be she's going through something in her own life and she's working on
Exactly. Or
herself.
maybe
So
she
you
actually
really
did it
don't
for
know.
me.
You can't judge a person.
Exactly, but I will still stick by my positive assumption that I have that she did it for me because she wanted me to learn. And this
Mhm.
was the way I learned, and I actually did.
And you did learn.
Actually,
You learned so
yeah.
much through heartbreak. We learn a lot.
I
Yeah,
think it all depends on us whether we let the heartbreak uh, rule our life or we learn
exactly.
from it and find a way to how not to let that heartbreak rule our life. Because it's either you go down that road that I tried going, just going on alcohol and stuff and just sleeping
Yeah,
off it, or you fight that and you show
yeah.
the world,
And
or
as you
you show.
mentioned, I would love to ask you a little bit more questions about as you mentioned alcohol and like you were just trying to like drink to sleep and like just be maybe to be able to escape. It's pretty much escapism.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice for people who I guess are abusing alcohol in that way where they're drinking a lot to like escape their pain basically because a lot of people do that.
Yeah, alcohol is not going to help you because the pain is still going to be there. It is just when you are hungover or when you are under the influence of alcohol, you uh, feel different things and not depend. But I think you still do have all those memories. We cry when we are under the influence. I actually cry a lot when I drink. So
Yeah,
uh, you don't forget. It's not like you'll have a glass and the memory will erase out of your mind. No, when
exactly.
you sober up again, it's still going to be there. So
Temporary.
it's like a magic wand or something that you drink, magic potion that you drink, and you forget that those memories and your pain just fades away. Then yes, do have, but it's
Mhm.
not working that way,
Right.
right? So there's no point in just wasting your time, energy, and money on something that is not really erasing anything. So it's not helping you in any way. And one thing that I want to tell about alcohol is that alcohol is not an antidepressant. Alcohol is actually a depressant. So the people who are there trying to fight depression with alcohol, alcohol is actually a depressant that makes your anxiety worse. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have alcohol just during for that an hour or so, you'll feel numb or something. But when you wake up,
Yeah.
you'll feel much more anxious and depressed because alcohol is a depressant. It makes you more depressed.
Aside from that, it's also empty calories. You're just like adding all these empty calories into your body, especially if you have like a health goal in mind. Like there are so many people who have these health goals in mind, but yet you see them drinking out every weekend. So it's like, that's not going to help you with your health number one or the fitness goal you might have because there's a lot of people who have these fitness goals but are not following through.
I think the people who have these goals, they must know that a certain amount of alcohol, like a one glass or two, can only help them weekly if they have it, if they
Mm.
have those charts and all. But people who are trying to have these for to help them with depression, it's not going to help you with depression. It's
Exactly.
going to cost you more money,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
because yeah, and it's not helping you in any way. If you really want to give back to life, you have to give it back in a very productive way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it does not mean that if somebody has done you wrong, you have to do them wrong. You can actually work on yourself by giving yourself the love that you wanted from that person and that person was unable to give you.
Definitely. I think it should empower you to be the best version of yourself. And you have to take it in a way where it's like, okay, this was a life experience. Yes, it hurt me so much, but what can I do for myself at the moment? Instead of
But
drinking alcohol, go to the gym, become the best version of yourself by doing hot yoga or whatever it might be that is
this is
really
what
going
I
to
do
empower you.
now. I like when I feel anxious, I just try to work out. Why do you want to put this energy in doing something unproductive? That
Yeah,
is going
yeah.
to
And it's not
express.
easy. It's not easy at all to be able to train your mindset to like go. It's the easy path versus the path that is going to actually benefit you, right? So you want to take that path, obviously.
Yes, but that's what the reality of the world is. That only the hard work and hard parts is going to lead you to something successful. Only
Exactly.
if it's about lottery, then you are going to get like. But
Yeah,
otherwise, it's always work, and then that's it is whether it's life, whether it's your business, whether it's your finance. I think you have to work on some constant effort. Even relationships, they're
mhm.
constant effort, and life is never going to be hunky dory. I don't
If
think so.
if you have if you have one advice for people who I guess self-love is thrown around very much. So like how can someone truly care for themselves, right? Like how can someone truly like love themselves? Like, do you have any advice for that?
I think self-love, if we want to give people love, first we have to have that love in ourselves. So if you're a giver and you have nothing left in you, then you are unable to give. So to be able to give people love, you need to, like we always say, people will not respect you if you don't respect yourself. It works with all emotions. If you are not happy within you, you can't make people happy. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. If you don't respect yourself, so it all starts from you.
Mm-hmm.
We expect people to do what we ourselves are unable to do. So
Right,
if
right.
I'm unable to love myself, I cannot expect you to love me because this is
Yeah.
something that I can't do. So you have to start by yourself. You need
Mm-hmm.
to fill yourself with that love to give people and then expect them to love you,
How can
right?
how can people start themselves first if someone doesn't really know about self-love or has really doesn't understand it? What's one advice or one tip that you would give to that person? Like how can they start? What would be the first step?
What makes you happy? What are you grateful of? These are the two things that put your focus on. What makes you happy, and that does not involve people. And
And
tell
that
yourself
that does not involve
not
people.
involve people. Yeah, things
Wow.
that make you happy that does not involve people.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
great advice. Yeah.
yeah.
Because a lot of
That's
the times we
one.
just rely on people. It's like calling a friend or,
Yeah. No, no, that's
yeah.
one exercise that I always make my clients also do when they come to me, like the life coaching clients, that write down the things that you make you happy, but that does not involve people because then it's not really self-love, but then it's again involving people to make you happy, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
shouldn't involve people, and you should be grateful for the things that you. It all starts with gratitude, and gratitude eventually makes you happy as well.
Awesome.
And these are like some steps. It'll start with gratitude, happiness, and then going on to love, and then doing things for yourself, and then actually being fulfilled in within yourself. And if you are happy and fulfilled within yourself, then only you can make people around you. Then otherwise, there are people who are filled with negativity because they are not happy within themselves. That's why they're
Definitely.
spreading the negativity. Yeah.
Very true, very true. It all starts within being able to really work through all of
And
our issues and understanding
self
that.
love is actually a journey that we don't understand. We initially started. It's when we reach a point when we actually start giving ourselves love and it starts reflecting in our personality. Is when we actually understand now, okay, this is self love and this is why it is important.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have to give it a term, or we say that we need to start it, there's no starting or ending point. It's a lifelong journey. There's
It's a
no
lifelong
destination.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's a continuous process. Even with healing, even with success, even with happiness, there is no destination. It's not like, okay, you will reach this point, it is happens. Now the life is going to
No,
be.
no,
No, it's a
that
continuous process.
absolutely.
Otherwise,
Because
the
once
name
you
of
reach that goal, then there's another goal, then there's another goal. So it's a continuous process for sure. Yeah.
life is not hunky dory. It is always going. There are always going to be ups and downs. There will be points when you're extremely happy, and tomorrow may be days when you're extremely sad, and that is okay because I don't think so. We have anybody in the world who's just happy all the time, and then that is also not considered normal because imagine if somebody dies, you're losing somebody you have hurt, and you're still laughing. No, we have to feel all the emotions as well in life. So
Yeah.
happy, sad, angry, sometimes, yeah. To
Thank you
some
so
extent, we have
much.
to feel these emotions.
Thank you so much. That was such a great podcast. This was such a great podcast. And like I think like everyone's going to take away so much from all the information as being a coach and really supporting people and helping. Like you're doing such a beautiful job and like you're really following your passion. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting me, for considering me for this. That really means a lot. Thank you very, very much.